you on your feet again. Relax. I'll need some information first. Just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain, you are receding. A distant ship, smoke on the horizon. You are only coming through in waves. Your lips move, but I can't hear what you're saying. When I was a child, I had a feeling to believe. Now I've got that feeling once again. I can't explain, you will not understand. This is not how I am. I have become comfortably numb. Okay. Just a little pinprick. There'll be no more. But you make me feel a little Time keeps on slipping into the future. Time keeps on slipping into the future. I wanna fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till I'm free. I go through the revolution, feed the babies who don't have enough to eat. Shoe the children with no shoes on their feet. House the people living in the street. Oh, there's a solution. I want to fly like an eagle to the sea. Fly like an eagle, let my spirit carry me. I want to fly like an eagle till I'm free. Right through the revolution. Time keeps on slipping into the future. 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 Do 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 do. future. Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future.
See the curtains hanging in the window in the evening on a Friday night. Little light is shining through the window, lets me know everything's alright. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. See the paper laying on the sidewalk, a little music from the house next door. So I walk on up to the doorstep, through the screen and across the floor. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Sweet days of summer, the jasmine's in bloom. July is dressed up and playing her tune, and I come home from a hard day's work, and you're waiting there, our care in the world. See the smile waiting in the kitchen, food cooking on the plates for two. Feel the arms that reach out to hold me in the evening when the day is through. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind. Summer breeze makes me feel fine, blowing through the jasmine in my mind.
Hey everybody, we're going to get started in about 3 more minutes. In about 3 minutes, people yet, say hi, go and exchange info. If you haven't gotten lunch, grab lunch real quick, and we'll get started. Well, hello everybody. It is good to see you today. I'm glad that you're here. I think we can tell that summer has hit and people are on vacations and enjoying the sunshine maybe more than all of us at the moment. But hopefully we have trips coming up soon. But thank you for taking the time to be here and making this a priority in your month to come spend time with us. My name is Aaron Bruma. I'm the Executive Director of Faith Community Health Network. I'm also on the executive committee of the Safety Net Alliance, and I'm on our member engagement committee. There you go. I'll get it. So we're glad that you're here. If this is the first time that you're here with us, we're especially glad that you're here. Know that in just a few minutes, we're going to ask you to introduce yourself, so I don't want that to come as a surprise, but we want to get to know everybody that's here. So let's start out by talking about why we're here. The mission of the Safety Net Alliance is to unite, strengthen, and amplify the collective impact of diverse organizations and individuals dedicated to changing the lives of Northern Kentuckians facing adversity. Together, we'll create a stronger, more compassionate, inclusive, and equitable Northern Kentucky, where the safety net is a source of hope and transformation for all residents in time of need. And we envision a future where everybody has equitable access to essential services, support, and opportunities as a springboard to a brighter future. That's why we show up. Everybody here, if it's your first time here, maybe I can't speak for everybody, but we believe that the safety net is a system that is best when we work together. We know that there's no one that walks in any of our doors, or it's extremely rare that somebody that walks into any of our doors, we're going to be able to give them everything they need to get on the path to the future that they dream of for themselves and their family. So we need to work with each other. And the whole point of why we get together is to make that more seamless, to build the connections, to build the community, to support each other so that we can truly advance people's lives through the work we do every day, which is why I think we all do this work. So thank you for being here. Now it is time to meet new attendees. So here's what I would like if you're new. I'd love to know your name. I'd love to know what organization you work with and your role. And if you came here today saying, man, I'd really like to meet somebody who does this, tell us that too, so that they can connect with you at the end of the meeting. So, if you're new, raise your hand and we'll come around and find you. Great. You got it back there, Linda?
Okay. So I'm Dr. Cynthia Villasis. I am a family practice doctor. I have Health Connections, direct primary care. It's a direct primary care office in Florence, Kentucky, which means I'm outside of insurance. And I'm bilingual, and so I have a number of folks that obviously speak Spanish. My staff. So for folks that are needing the 693s, I help take care of them.
We're glad that you're here. Thanks for doing that work. I think we have one more right in front of you there, Linda.
Should I stand? Hello, everyone. My name is Teresa Millen, and I am a financial wellness coach at Brighton Center. This is the first time I'm doing this role, but I was in Food Bank in Cincinnati, Ohio. So it's nice meeting everybody.
Hi, Teresa. Thanks for joining us. That's a critical job, and we love that we have it in Northern Kentucky. Over here, some friendly new faces.
Hi, I'm Nisa Keating. I am the ESL instructor at Canton County Public.
In Covington, so I would love to meet anyone that has resources for our patrons.
I'm a giant library fan. I don't think everybody knows, probably people in this room know, but I was shocked as I moved into this role how the libraries are often the entry point for people to be able to receive care. You guys do incredible work. Did I see you raise your hand? Great.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bobby Gomez. I work at Transitions, an inpatient rehab facility, and my job title is Bilingual Employment Specialist. I do a lot of case management, a little bit of clinical work, but my primary task is to help people find jobs as they transition back into their real lives.
That's awesome. Thanks for being here, Bobby. We appreciate you. Anybody else new? Oh, right behind you.
Hi, my name is Paula Brunn. I'm the lead manager of Behavioral Health Services at North Key. So basically, I'm over all of the outpatient, school-based,
We're excited to have you. We love North Key. We're lucky to have North Key in our community. I got one right over here.
Hi, I'm Elsie Verdugo. I want to say new role. It's been a year now, and I'd just like to meet anybody that is willing to help the EL community for our school district with anything like housing, food, ESL classes, healthcare. So anything like that. That's my role to when families are new to the district or have been there for a while and they're looking for any kind of resource and they don't know who to ask, then that's where I would come in.
We're glad you're here, Elsie. Anybody new but didn't want to raise their hand because they didn't want to talk on the mic? Huh? I bet you there's at least one. Okay, well, committee updates. We're not going to do committee updates today. We're just going to have a few things on here, but there's a few things going on. Friday, 6/26, so June 26th coming up in a few weeks. We've talked about Care Suite a lot in here. If you're new, I'll give you a high-level overview of it really quick. CareSuite is a shared client management system in which we can do collaborative case management and ease the process of a client needing services from more than one organization. And so it allows us to share data on clients that need services elsewhere, share documentation. It saves that client from having to present the same documents over and over, answer the same questions over and over, and it allows them to move through the system a lot faster. I think we all know here, just what I was talking about in the beginning, that Northern Kentucky is rich when it comes to what we have to offer people and help them to get on their feet and to be moving towards a life that they want. But the systems can be challenging at times. It can be hard when I need to go to 3, 4, 5 different places to get all the care that I need. We know that we can't put everybody in one building, but by creating an integrated technology platform, we can ease that burden on the client and help to advance them even faster. So CareSuite's wonderful. We at Faith Community Health Network use it to share referrals and to communicate. Also, another advantage of it is it has collaborative case management. So we don't do case management at Faith Community Health Network, so we don't use that side. But many of you, we know that when, for instance, a student in a school is getting case management at the school and their family might be getting case management from one of our other case manager partners. One of the challenges you might have now is when you have a meeting come up, you've got to send out multiple emails or phone calls or everything just to find out what's happening everywhere. Through this system, you have the ability to share your notes, to see if referrals are picked up, to see if somebody's getting the services that you referred them to, and so it creates a lot of efficiencies for us and clients. So if your organization is not on CareSuite yet, I would really encourage you to come. I will tell you we're getting huge amounts of support from this, from the funding community also, that really want to see adoption of safety net partners of this. So please plan on coming. I think it'll be worth your time. Also, committee lunch and learns. So we have a number of standing committees here, and we want to get more people engaged in those committees. So be on the lookout that there will be some lunch and learns coming up, a no-pressure situation for you to show up and have lunch, learn about what the committee does, and see if that's another way that you can connect into the community. Anything I'm missing there, Jarrett? Was that all I had to say? Any questions about those two things? No? Great. Well, let me invite up our speakers for today. I am really excited to be talking about immigration, and I'll talk while you guys come up. Jared, do you have the other microphones? I'm really excited about this conversation on immigration services. I think we all saw over the last year tons of news about immigration. We've seen a cultural shift in a lot of ways. We've seen a government shift in a lot of ways. And you can go up right there. And we're seeing some of that news die down, but we know these things are still impacting this community who we care deeply about. So I'm excited to get a chance to learn from some people today that are directly impacting those individuals and working with them, and some insights as to what are those individuals still facing? What is the fear like in the community? All of those kind of things. We have some questions that we'll ask, but remember this is always an interactive thing. So if you have a question that comes up while they're talking, please feel free to raise your hand and we'll ask that question, and then we'll save some time for questions at the end also. Sound good? Well, welcome. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for what you do. It's critically important. I know that it's a role that's just gotten harder over the last year and a half. And unfortunately, it looks like it might continue to get harder. So thank you for doing it. Know that we here are behind you, and we're excited to learn from you and see how we can support you in this. So let's start with maybe everybody can introduce themselves, what organization they're with, and just a brief overview of what that organization does.
Awesome. My name is Sarah Larcade. I am an immigration attorney. I work at my own firm, Larcade, Ficker, and Kubanaya, Larcade Law for short. My firm is newer. We're about 2 years old now, but I've been doing this work for almost 9 years. So I survived the first administration, and I'm still out here during the second. We represent immigrants and their families. We do removal defense, so immigrants who are placed in removal proceedings. We do family immigration, and we also do some humanitarian work. So we work with victims of crime, victims of domestic violence, victims of trafficking, and also children who came to the United States without their parents or who have been abandoned, abused, or neglected by one parent or both parents. I think that about covers it.
That's a hard job.
It is.
Thanks for doing it. Thanks for making time to come and share with us today, too.
Hi, my name is Teresa Cruz. I am the founder and CEO of Fiesta. We're a small nonprofit organization that's based out of Florence, Kentucky. And what we do is we provide access to basic needs to our Latino families in the greater, I'd say Northern Kentucky, but greater Cincinnati region. We've had families come in from Cincinnati, from Indiana, from Grant County. So we help anyone that comes through our doors. We have we are the only culturally relevant food pantry in Northern Kentucky. We help with, connect them to rental assistance. We have ESL classes. We have a mental health initiative. Anything that is important and that these families need. We're not about services. Everything that we do is based on our families. That's what we do.
It's awesome. Violetta, thanks for what you do, Teresa.
Well, hi everyone, and thanks for inviting us today and for providing a space to talk about these issues that are so relevant right now. My name is Violeta Colman. I am a Paraguayan human rights lawyer from Paraguay, and I'm serving as the executive director of the Esperanza Latino Center. We are based in Covington, and in the same way as Fiesta, we also serve Latino populations that are in the region of Northern Kentucky and greater Cincinnati as well. We provide services to the community. We have a health clinic with St. Elizabeth that operates weekly at Esperanza, at our center. We also have legal immigration services for our clients. We have a notary, and we do case management of everyday challenges that people might face. So very quickly, our 3 pillars are access to education, access to health and healthcare, and overall well-being. And we work with families, we meet them where they are, whatever challenges they have. We try to solve very complex cases. Thank you.
Thanks, Violetta, and I'll apologize that we beat Paraguay in the World Cup.
That hurt a lot. But I have to say, the U.S. played very well, so at least that. So.
They did. Paraguay can still advance. They've got a chance in the group. I believe in them.
My name is Avery Norris. I am the Youth Service Coordinator for Kentucky Refugee Ministries. We're also based in Covington, but we are a refugee resettlement agency through the Office of Refugee Resettlement. So what we do is we resettle refugees that have been assigned to the Northern Kentucky area. We help with case management, employment. I do all of our family and school-based things. We used to have ESL classes. We're working on getting those back, and then we do a lot of outreach and advocacy in the community as well.
Awesome. Thanks for being here, Avery. So we have a series of standard questions that we ask to every committee. I want you to know that you have permission to go way off base. So if we ask a question and you're like, that's not the right question for me, you really should ask this, just go ahead and tell us that. Does that sound good? We have an agreement on it? Awesome. So what is driving the need for your services that the community needs to be aware of right now? Do you want to start, Avery, since you have the mic there at the end?
So what we have had to pick 2025. We have not had a new arrival since January 16th, 2025, just 4 days before the administration took back over and all the executive orders went out. So we have pivoted greatly to our clients that are here because they were facing very real and very scary fears. They didn't know if they were going to be deported, even though they are on a protected status. They're losing access to SNAP and Medicaid. So we've pivoted to trying to really lean in to help our clients that are here with language access, healthcare access, access to food and employment. So our employment department has actually been really busy lately trying to get as many people employed as possible before their benefits end. But there's just been a lot of fear and uncertainty for our clients because of the current administration and the problems that is causing for them. So we've tried to really pivot with a staff that got significantly smaller. We went from 24 to a staff of 7. But yeah, so we've just been really trying to lean into our clients that are here and give them what they need the best we can.
Thanks for being here for them. And you mentioned protected status. We're still seeing even changes to those that have protected status now coming. Do you want to speak to that a little bit of what's happening and what we're seeing?
Yeah, we've had refugees still technically have a protected status that has been not always honored. Thankfully, none of our clients have experienced it yet, but we have had clients stopped by ICE agents, stopped by police officers, stopped by a random person in the grocery store asking to see their papers because they spoke a different language. But what we have seen is all of our clients that are Haitian have pretty much gone underground because most of them were all here under humanitarian parole or temporary protective status and overnight became undocumented. So they were let in at the border, they were given this humanitarian parole, and then an executive order said that doesn't matter. And it made them undocumented, so we have seen almost all of our Haitian clients kind of disappear and not seek us out for services. We've had to really work to engage them just because they're afraid to leave their homes.
Yeah, that's terrifying. Thank you for sharing that. Violetta?
Yeah, so thinking about what is driving the need from the community to access our services, the first thing that I can think of is also how we had to change and become more flexible in the way we work because of the current executive orders and the changes, and also the hostility toward immigrants and the Latino community in general. So in the last year, in 2025, we had to work around supporting families not only with their regular needs, because that is still happening. So people who are still facing challenges, and also the people who come to Esperanza, we serve everyone, and all our services are bilingual, so mostly we have Latino people coming to us. But again, it's the most vulnerable people within the Latino population, right? And maybe people were coming already because they were part of our diaper program, or maybe because they were part of our clinic, but then now we had this other layer of the immigration issues. Someone was detained, and as you were mentioning before, the way these detentions are happening are due to traffic infractions or perceived traffic infractions. So people are detained, people are being arrested, people are being deported, families are being separated, and how do we support the people who are staying here? How do we support the kids who are in school, the kids who are having to go through anxiety, stress, mental health issues, because suddenly one of their parents is gone out of nowhere? So we are seeing a lot of that, even though we are not an organization that focuses on that kind of work. We are not a legal organization, but the way this is affecting the community and the well-being of the community is just so big. Yeah. So we also had to shift or incorporate, maybe that would be the best word, we had to incorporate new ways of working to support these other pillars at our foundation. So. Yeah.
Can you speak to it a little bit more, Violetta? I think in the general public, and I'm sure that's not the way it is here in this community, in this room, because we know, but who comes to you are not just undocumented, they're documented. There are all different levels of legal status that people are facing. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing? You talked about these other ripple down consequences of this, of the mental health, of all of these things. Can you talk more to just the practical impact that it's having on families and some of the decisions that they're having to make, whether they're documented or undocumented, and how their lives are being drastically changed?
Yeah, absolutely. So you might be familiar with the term mixed status family. That is where you have, within a family, within a household, you have members who are born in the U.S., U.S. citizens, and then you also have members who are immigrants. So everyone in the household has to live at a level of stress, fear, and anxiety, and that includes the kids, that includes the little children, that includes, we saw this a lot at the beginning of last year, and I think it's been shifting, but people were afraid of going to the hospital. We had pregnant women who were afraid of going to their consultations. We saw kids who are afraid of going to school. And one thing that we're still seeing is that, for example, kids, even if they are US citizens, they might be afraid of staying and doing more activities after engaging with after-school programs, which are incredibly beneficial to them, because the idea is that you're safe if you go to school and immediately you go home after that, and that's it. You should not be doing anything else.
Yeah.
That's the end of your life. So.
Yeah, it's so hard. Just a fear of drawing attention from anybody, anywhere, I would imagine, lingers over top of everybody. Teresa, tell us about what you guys are seeing and what's kind of driving your need right now.
So what's driving Fiesta's need is, and all of us here know that it's not for a lack of services. There are tons of food pantries. There's mental health services. There's health care. But none of them are tailored to the immigrant experience. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. So, and this is from Puerto Rico, that Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. I'm not even talking about Central or South America or Mexico. The healthcare system in Puerto Rico, when you go to the doctor, it is a doctor in a little office. It's not a big St. Elizabeth thing that they have doctors and they're under the St. Elizabeth umbrella. You go to the town doctor, he writes your prescription. If you need an x-ray, he writes it on a piece of paper. You drive to the x-ray place, you get the x-ray. A week later, you go pick up the literal physical x-ray and you take it back to the doctor. That's how it goes. So when you get here and you hear, well, it's in your MyChart. Ma'am, I don't know what a MyChart is. And especially if you're from a country, you don't speak the language. You don't know how to use technology. Technology is not something you use back home. So this makes it really difficult for people. Another thing is the school system. Again, in Puerto Rico, my kids were born and raised in Puerto Rico. You went to the office, you dropped off the paperwork, the kid was enrolled, you never had to do anything else with it until he graduated. Not a problem. This was the town, you went to this school. Here, it's so different. Everything is online. You have to upload documents. You have to look online, and it's in English. It's not in Spanish or any other language. Well, it's on our website. Okay, ma'am, it's on your website. But when you hit translate and Google translates it, it's a literal translation, and if there's not a word, Google will stick a word that has nothing to do with it in it, and then it completely loses the meaning. So we're talking about systems that weren't built for people that aren't from here, for people that don't speak the language. And then that's not even including trust and fear. Families don't trust systems. Families are afraid. So we literally we created Fiesta because there was a need to have a trusted place in the community, a hub for the Hispanic community and for anyone else that wants to come in where they feel safe, where they feel respected, and people that value and understand the culture. So that's honestly why Fiesta came up.
That's awesome. I have a follow-up question for that, but I will say Faith Community Clinic is now open, and we have a bilingual care navigator who's from Puerto Rico that starts on January 1st.
Yes, okay.
So we are addressing some of those things.
You are.
So what you were talking about systems and how the barrier isn't always the barriers that the system is not set up, and you talked about trust, right? And we found at Faith Community Pharmacy how important trust is, and that we have to do it. What we're learning is that trust has a lot of tentacles, right? It has a lot of tentacles. What are some things we can do at our places of work that from the ground up start to build that trust, that somebody knows this is a person that's on my side and wants what's best for me and is willing to learn as well as teach?
Okay, I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, it doesn't happen overnight. I've been doing this for 8 years. Fiesta's been open for 2. So let's say Fiesta, 3 years with Fiesta. Those other 5 years were building relationships within the community. Unfortunately, funding, well, here, we're going to give you, funding is for programming, and they'll give you a year's worth of funding. You take that first year just to build relationships, just to build trust. And then finally, when you get the program up and running, that's the end of the funding. So take your time, Get to know people, build their trust. It's not overnight. Be prepared for it to take a while. Second, find someone in the community. There is always someone in the community that knows everybody. That's how I did it. I was going door to door at, Heartland Point. I went and knocked on every door at Heartland Point. Didn't get much of a result. Okay. And we were inviting people to an event. I found one lady, her name is Adriana, I will never forget her. And she said, what is it that you need? Oh, that sounds good. And I said, yeah, I can't find anybody to go, and I'm not getting many results. She said, espérate un momentito. Mira, and she called. We had 28 people show up to that event. Because I connected with one person that was connected to everyone else, she was a trusted person in the community. And since she trusted me, once she said, Teresa's okay, I was accepted. And now I can do that. So if I say, go to Faith Pharmacy, they go to Faith Pharmacy because they know I'm not going to send them anywhere that's going to put them in harm's way.
Yeah.
So find someone from that community that you can, I want to say use, but talk to that person and have them help you reach out to the community so that little by little you can be that trusted person in the community. That was not always me. I had to really work at it.
Yeah. There's a couple other things that we've learned. I think those are amazing points, and that's we went from a 4% Spanish-speaking population to 17% over 2 years, and it was because of that, because we created some trusting relationships with individuals that would then go and share, and that made everybody else comfortable coming to us. Some things that we've learned too, and I'd love your feedback and insights on this, is one, think about place. We have a place where if Hispanic patients want, is outside of our lobby that they can sit and wait, so they don't have that openness and exposure to everything. Also, we've thought a lot about if we're doing something specifically for the Hispanic population, how we advertise that is very different than what may have been done in the past. Very targeted, not public, because that's what creates a lot of the apprehension.
We don't have a sign on our building.
Yeah.
People know we're there because they know we're there, but we don't have a sign. We don't promote any of our events, or we try not to, on Facebook. It is a closed WhatsApp group and word of mouth, just because we want to make sure that they feel safe, and we've become that trusted, safe space.
Yeah, really important. Thank you. Sarah? What's driving the need for your services?
I would say right now, it's the increased enforcement actions. 2 years ago, when I first started my firm, I would get consultations for people that wanted to bring their family members, or wanted to bring employees for their business, or just wanted a general evaluation of what was available to them. And now it's all about people are being detained. People are afraid to go to court. People are afraid to go to their ICE check-in appointment. I mean, I had never been to ICE because they were very routine appointments, but people started getting detained. So now I'm at ICE every week or more. And so those are the changes that we've seen, and it's more like changing the need for my services right now. And also, the government decided to reinterpret the law about immigration bond and basically say hardly anyone was eligible for it. So then we started filing federal actions against the government in federal court. I had never done that either. I've now done it a handful of times. So all of the extra enforcement actions are really what's driving the changed need for me.
Well, I have to make up, if this is hard for you, understanding it from an immigrant standpoint is extremely difficult.
Yes.
Of these things that seem to be shifting sand, right? We had solid, we knew what to expect, and now it feels like anything could fall apart.
Yeah. I often say one of the hardest things about my job is explaining to my immigrant clients what's going on and what I'm doing. And I do try, and sometimes it is one of the hardest things, especially when there are many assumptions about how the system works and about the law, and it's very hard to explain the intricacies of the law.
Well, and I would imagine it's difficult too, because I think in in American culture, we tend to lump people together. So we'll say Hispanic, and that lumps everybody. We'll say African, and that lumps everybody. But when you're one-on-one, you recognize and understand there are countless cultures within those. And so explaining and touching not only takes you knowing what you're talking about, but understanding the culture they're coming from so that you can explain it in a way that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's hard. Well, thank you. This is one that we've talked about a little bit, so feel free to go off the reservation with your answer. But what are primary challenges and barriers currently hindering the effectiveness and impact of your work?
Me?
Sure,
Okay.
start here.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, but I would say the collective actions that the government has implemented, I describe it as like they're trying to just squeeze people out of the system. I will get on the video conference court for a detained docket, and I will see countless people who don't hire attorneys just say, I want voluntary departure, I want to go home, and they're not even fighting because is bond even available to them? Can they afford to hire an attorney? And then when we are getting bonds, until recently we were seeing $30,000 bonds. And in immigration court, it's straight up. There's no 10%, there's no property that can be put for it. And so I just describe it, and they're taking away a lot of options from a lot of people, and they're just, and it's working, unfortunately. They're squeezing people out of the system, so people need a lot of support, and that's the biggest challenge right now. The families that are affected need a lot of support.
Are there organizations that are supporting the cost of legal work for immigrants?
I know of one. His name is Jeff Richardson, and he founded the 3R Fund for Immigrants. I don't know currently where they are, but they started during the previous Trump administration, and they raised money to pay for immigration bonds. And I remember when it all first started and everybody was being denied bond and we had to go to the habeas route in federal court, I think they were reappropriating those funds to lawyers' fees because we couldn't even get to the bond. So I'm not 100% sure what the status of that is, but I know at least that organization. I don't know of any others at this time.
Great. One more follow-up question for you as we do on this, and this follow-up question I'd love if everybody would talk on it too. You know, there are plenty of reasonable people in this country that say, hey, it's good. We should be, we should be pushing out people who come here illegally. We've just talked about that not all of them do come here illegally. We're changing the rules. Tell me from your perspective, having done this for 9 years, what are we losing? What are we losing when we go down this path?
Oh my gosh, I mean, we're losing the heart of the country, and I hate to reduce immigrants to their value in terms of like work, but people don't understand that immigrants literally support the country. And beyond that, their value to the community is incredible. I mean, just one example being, this was out of Columbus, Ohio, but a group of Somali immigrants did a grocery run for a bunch of Hispanic people in the community because they were afraid to leave when ICE was like flooding Columbus. So immigrants make America great. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. That's what we're losing, is the greatness and the fabric of our society.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Teresa, what are some barriers that you're facing, and as we go through this difficult time, what do you think we might be losing?
Okay, the first part. So I think one of the challenges that we face is that the systems are built to solve problems. And when a family comes to you, they don't just have one problem. That'd be easy. They have a lot of problems. So they'll come in because they need food. But as you have a conversation, they need food, they need diapers, they need help with their rent, they need help with, they have immigration questions. So it turns into this entire system that they need. And it's not, they have to go from place to place, and it's not built for that, right? And I think the way that we're building systems is that we're building them, we have to stop seeing the problem and start seeing the people.
That's a great point. Thanks for
I
pointing
think,
that out.
and it's just, I'll say this real quick, but this morning, every morning I try and have coffee with Jesus. And I was reading, and it literally said Jesus did not see problems, he saw people. And I was like, oh, mic drop, that's perfect for today, mic drop, because it's so true. You have to see the people behind the problem. You have to see their needs. You can't just, at Fiesta, I'm not trying to solve world hunger. There is no way. I'm not even trying to solve Northern Kentucky hunger. I'm just trying to alleviate some of the stress of having to choose between buying diapers and groceries or paying your rent. If I can help you and give you a box of food that's gonna last you for 2 weeks, you might have some extra money to pay your rent, to pay your electric bill, to go take your family out to eat. But
What? You're allowed to have fun if you're
You're
low income
allowed
and
to have
struggling?
fun,
Oh
yes.
my gosh, this is groundbreaking.
Isn't that groundbreaking? Isn't that crazy? So yeah, I really think if we stop seeing the problem and started seeing people, it's gonna change how we serve. It's gonna change how we create programs, how we develop things for families, because we're seeing the family. We're seeing what they need to move forward, not the big problem, because when you look at the big problem, you get overwhelmed, because it's a big problem.
Yeah,
What was the other question?
well, I think you talked about it a little bit. But
Okay,
you know, as we go through this difficult time, and you're obviously everybody on this stage is pro-immigrant, right? Like, and we believe in them. What are we losing because of what we're going through right now and the fear that our immigrant families are feeling?
I'm just going to take it to the people. We are losing such beautiful cultures, such beautiful people. I invite people all the time to come to our food distribution so that they can see the people that we serve, the families. These are the families that you're helping. They're such good people, grateful people, smart people, resilient people that have such beautiful backgrounds and stories and cultures. And we live in a freaking bubble. We're missing all of that. We're missing the stories. We're missing the... Why would you want a country that everybody looks the same? You want differences, right? You want to hear, oh my gosh, tell me about that. That's so cool. You eat tarantulas in Vietnam. What? When I taught ESL, we had a class just about different things. And I think that's what we're losing. We're losing the value of people.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go to Esperanza for a diabetes class that we were helping with, and I have a 19-month-old foster daughter at home, and I was sitting in the back of the class, and I saw these beautiful families with kids that were the age of my daughter, and in my heart was just crumbling, thinking about the fear that those parents have right now of, you know, I know what I would do to keep my child safe, and I can't imagine the fear of I might not be here tomorrow for my child to take care of them. And it was crushing to me. I mean, it was a mess. But I think you're right. So many of us, I think, we all have strong opinions until we meet somebody that it impacts, and all of a sudden we have a relationship and our views start to change. And I think that's great insight. Violetta?
Yes, so also reflecting on what has been shared already, I think that the challenges, as Teresa was saying, when people come to Esperanza as well, they come with multiple situations that they have to solve. It's not just one thing. And we are all working at capacity, but we are also working connected with all of you. I know several of you here, we've been working in collaboration, and I think that that is our strength, and that is also the challenge. The challenge is to make sure that you're intentional with the design of your services so that you can serve the population that is the population in Kentucky. Just to give some numbers, because data is powerful. In the last census showed that the Hispanic/Latino population in the state of Kentucky grew by 40%. 40% in 10 years. In Covington, where we are located, 10% of the population, and this is data from the city of Covington, 10% of the population are Latino or Hispanic. And in the public schools in Covington and in Newport, it's a third of the kids. There's a primary school in Covington where 50% of the kids are Latinos. So that is who we are. That is who Northern Kentucky is. That is how we look like. So your services should be designed intentionally to meet the needs of the people who are already here. And yeah, I think that is the main message. And trying to respond to the other question, what do we lose when we lose our people? Well, we lose our people, and we lose the families. We lose the foundation for a lot of young people. And what we're seeing at Esperanza is that we're seeing families being separated. That has been happening last year. We have been documenting that internally. We saw last year 62 cases of people who are being, and these are only people who come to Esperanza, 62 cases of people who were detained and deported. That means 62 families who had a relative, someone they loved, who went missing, who was disappeared. We also provided over 300 free legal consultations last year on immigration-related issues. And on top of that, what I was sharing before, we see the distress. We see the fear in the youth. We see the fear in the kids. And we're missing the well-being. When we're taking away people, we're missing the well-being of our state, of Kentucky, of our region, of our community, of our neighborhood. So that's what we will be missing.
Yeah, you talked on something that hit a nerve with me. I've had the chance to travel abroad to a number of communities, and you know, we talk about what's wrong with America and where are we struggling, and a lot of people say, well, we've lost community, we've lost that sense of family, we've lost that sense of connectedness. And I'm going to talk with broad brush here, which is unfair, but I think largely what I've seen is that our immigrant communities are great at community. They are great. They stick together. They see each other in this close-knit. And I think we still have so much to learn. You know, we've moved so far away from that connectiveness in our society to so individualistic. We have our kids that aren't going. They're playing video games or looking on social media, and we're worried about them because they're not with friends and they're not doing this and they don't want to be with their parents. Well, if we want to learn how to do it right, we have neighbors right by us that are doing it really, really well. And we could take some lessons from them and try to incorporate it into our lives.
And if I can add something on top of that, I think that another very important message that I want you to take from here is the value of integration. So when you design your services intentionally, or your community events, your outreach programs, if you can also think about how to integrate the Latino population with the services and with everything else that you have in mind. And this is not the same as assimilation. We don't want anyone to be changing their values, their lifestyle, their way of being, their culture, but we do, if we already have a population living here and they're not going anywhere, we're not going anywhere, then it's important that we can feel that we can be integrated in the rest of the community. We can participate in the neighborhood, in the block parties, that we can be invited to the kids festival that is going to happen at the park, things like that. So be intentional about that as well. How do we invite people? How do we create an inviting space? And that builds community.
What's important about that? This isn't the first time in history that we've had this happen. You know, like, it's the Hispanic community and our black and brown neighbors that are feeling it now. But the same thing happened with the Italians in the 1920s, and then it happened with the Germans in the 1930s and 1940s. We've gone through this before. We've figured out how a culture can retain its culture but still be integrated with everybody else. What seems different this time, there were still language barriers then. I mean, we had many people come that didn't speak English then. We had signs up saying WAPs need not apply, right? We've done this before. The primary thing that seems different is now they look different than our typical white America, but it's not our first time. We've done this before. We've made progress. We just need to keep doing it. Thanks for sharing that. Avery?
I say kind of on what everyone else has said and kind of on community specifically, like, it's so important, and I think our immigrant and refugee community is so good at doing that. Like, there's a man in Florence, his name is Zach. He runs the East African restaurant and is single-handedly bringing the Somali community together. Like when we're still getting arrivals, if we got clients from Somali, we didn't find them permanent housing in Covington because we knew Zach was gonna get in touch with them and they were gonna wanna go to Florence. And so we could get them resettled in Florence. And he's like single-handedly bringing that community together in a way that I think we could really learn from. Our biggest barriers is we are federally funded. And we were concerned for a while that we were not sure how we were going to operate, and we are now having to really justify every single thing we're doing and why it's important. And at any moment, they can be like, no, we don't like that, you have to strike that program, or no, we can't offer that, you can't offer that service. So it's been very stressful trying to keep programming that we know is important going, trying to maintain that funding. And then kind of locally, we're working on a very large language access policy, starting in Covington, but we're hoping to spread it to Northern Kentucky because we're finding that our clients are very limited in some of the services they can access because of language access. They don't speak any English. Some of them don't read or write in their native language, so just interpreting papers doesn't always work. They need an in-person interpreter. Google is great in a pinch, but it's not the same as having someone that speaks that language and can interpret for them. Like I've been on the phone with clients with a doctor's office and they're speaking to them in English, they only speak Arabic. And I'm on the phone saying, I need you to get an interpreter on their phone. And I've had pushback of like, can you just tell them this? We'll get an interpreter when he's here. And it's like, no, you need an interpreter right now. He doesn't know what you're saying. So that's some of the biggest barriers. And then food insecurity is huge right now because almost all of them have lost access to SNAP unless they have their green card. And that process is currently suspended for we don't know how long. And as of October 1st, they will all lose access to Medicaid. So they're facing these mounting problems that we've all kind of touched on are happening concurrently. Like it's not like we're food insecure, everything else is fine. It's we're food insecure, we don't know if we're gonna have health insurance, I don't know if we can pay the rent, I don't know how to transition my child from elementary school to middle school. All of these are happening on top of each other and they don't speak the common language of the country. So they're facing barriers upon barriers upon barriers that I think we forget because like it's always like, let's go here. But it's like I can't go to the doctor's office if they can't understand me, or if I'm afraid they're going to call and I'm going to be detained and I'm not going to get to leave. And I think that we're really losing kind of what everyone else, that we're losing really amazing people that bring so much to the area. And like just from like a data standpoint, I don't have the exact percentage, but the amount of money that immigrants and refugees pour into the US economy, and the amount of entrepreneurship that is brought into from immigrant and refugee families is really like boosting our country. And like I was doing a paper and it was like, I think it's up to like $5.1 billion that is poured into the economy by immigrants and refugees, and it vastly outweighs anything that we pour into them. So.
Make sure they know on October 1st that Faith Community Clinic is here for them, and it's free. Can you for 1 second, we talk a lot about Hispanic culture because we have a number of nonprofits that are built for our Hispanic friends and neighbors, although I know they help others too. I don't think a lot of us know who else is here.
In Florence, most of them are in Florence. There are a few in the rest of Northern Kentucky, but there is a very large Somali population. In Covington and Kenton County, the top 3 are Spanish-speaking clients, Arabic-speaking clients, mostly from Syria, but we have some from Pakistan as well, and Congolese clients, Swahili speakers, people from the the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Those are the top 3 in the Kenton County area, and between Kenton County and Florence County, there's a huge Haitian Creole population as well, and that is really hard because we've seen wonderful push forwards for Spanish signs in almost all of the schools in Covington, and it's wonderful. But I've been talking with people on the Covington School Board. I'm like, that's great, but we need to do the next step because you also have Arabic speakers, you also have Swahili speakers that also are confused and need help accessing these services because it is all online. In my job in particular, like with school registration, they're told, well, you have to submit all your documents up online, but it only translates currently into English and Spanish, which is great. But like my Arabic speaking families are like, I don't know how to fill this out. And I think a unique situation to most of our clients is they don't always have all of the documents. Like a lot of their children, if they aren't US born children, they don't have their birth certificate necessarily, and that's required for school enrollments. Trying to pivot around when they don't necessarily have the documents because they were born in a refugee camp in a country that wasn't their own. We've had people from the Congo that were born in Zimbabwe, and they're like, they were born in a refugee camp. We never received a birth certificate. But so there's a really vast population, but I think those are kind of the top 5 that are in this area.
We're seeing a lot of French-speaking African.
Yeah.
Is a lot that comes to us also. This question, we've talked a lot about some, so don't feel, if you're like, I think we covered this, we'll just move on to the next one because we're running out of time. I know a couple of you touched on it. How can local organizations collaborate more strategically to address these unmet needs and drive sustainable solutions? I know, Violetta, you touched on it a little bit. Teresa, you touched on it. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that, to what you've already said? Totally okay if not? Great if you do. Great.
I have 2 things. One is early intervention. If someone is in immigration court, they need to see an attorney immediately, not wait until they get a hearing notice. A lot of people do that, and they may miss something that they could have done, or like if you come to me and your final hearing is in a month or even 2 or 3 months, I am probably not going to take your case because there's so much that goes into that, and you can't wait. So early intervention, and speak to an attorney. I know I am one, so it's in my interest to say that, but what we also see in this area are a lot of, we call them notarios, or non-attorney individuals that promote paralegal services or notary services, and they prepare very important immigration documents and file cases for people, and that it's often much cheaper than an attorney, and I get it, it's hard, but it often does not turn out well for that person, for the people that go that route. And so early intervention with an attorney, I would say is really key. And so making a network and knowing how to connect people with good attorneys with credentials. And then second, this is a very specific need, but there is an organization that works with the American Immigration Lawyers Association. It's called Capital Good Fund, and it's a nonprofit that provides loans to immigrants that need to pay their attorneys. And it is not in Ohio or Kentucky yet, and I really want to bring them to Ohio or Kentucky. So I don't know if anyone has a financial background and would want to, to help me on that. That would be one thing, because again, I hate to say it's all about money, but I mean, that is the biggest barrier right now. It's paying a reputable attorney, paying bond, the filing fees have all increased. I mean, it's almost impossible at this point. So.
No, that's a good point. Hopefully there's somebody in this audience that's like, hey, I have a passion for that. Let's pick it up and run with it. Last question, and then we'll get questions from the community. I'm going to phrase this one differently. Tell me a story that makes you proud to show up to work every day and for the work that you do.
I can start, and it's just very general. Especially these days, we don't win a lot, but I can't tell you how many clients express their gratitude to me, even if I'm giving them bad news, simply because I was there for them, I explained things to them, I fought for them, and I supported them, and that's what keeps me going every day. I mean, we do get some wins here and there, and they're very hard fought, but honestly, it means the world to me when a client expresses gratitude, even though I didn't get a win for them. That is a win for me because I feel like I've still done my job and I've not let them down.
I imagine there's an immense amount of peace in at least knowing they tried everything they could. Yeah. If you're going to lose your home, if you're possibly going to get separated, at least they can have peace in saying, look, I did everything I could. Yeah. And I imagine that makes a huge difference. Yeah. Thanks for doing that. Yeah. Teresa, what's something that makes you proud to show up to work every day?
Okay, I'm trying to decide which one I tell you. Okay, I'm going to tell you this one. So a couple months ago, a young couple came into Fiesta with a toddler, a 2-year-old. And I shouldn't assume, but I assumed that they were a couple. They were actually brother and sister, a 21-year-old and the 18-year-old sister. And mom had gotten deported. So the 21-year-old was taking care of his 6 siblings, including the 2-year-old. Now, they came to us because they didn't have a birth certificate because the 2-year-old was born in the home. So there's no record of this kid ever being born. Mom is deported. They're worried about being deported and who's going to take care of the baby and who's going to take care of the other kids that are home. So it was a 21-year-old, an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, 13, 11, 9, and 2. I cannot imagine how hard it must be for, at 21, I was not thinking of taking care of children, right? So having that responsibility, and Mom got deported 2 years ago. They took an Uber from Texas to northern Kentucky, made it to us. We helped them. We had a connection. We called Texas. We had some people. We are finding a birth certificate for that baby. Great. We hooked them up with diapers. They needed diapers. They needed food. The 3 oldest work 2 jobs. So the 13-year-old is taking care of everybody else. Like, this is... But we hooked them up. We connected them to an older couple. They're retired missionaries, and they were missionaries in South America. Speak Spanish fully. They have adopted those kids, not legally, but they've become their surrogate grandparents.
Wow.
So it is just so amazing to see. She'll bake cookies and take them to the kids. We got them set up for the food distribution, for the diaper program. We're helping them connect to lawyers and to asylum not asylum. I don't know which visa, U visa, T visa, one of the visas. I don't know which one, but we're getting them help. They still come and visit. We hear really good things about them. It's not that we've solved their problems. We haven't, but we're with them, holding their hand along the way, and that's why we do what we do.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that. Violetta?
Yeah, I think this is the most difficult question because there are so many, and I get my heart broken at Esperanza at least once a week, and I get my heart healed at Esperanza also at least once a week. So we see all kinds of situations, anything you can imagine that probably happened. One of the things that happened recently that I am very proud of is that we had a young mother who came to Esperanza with several kids. They are coming for our diaper program, and one of the little kids who was with the mom, a girl, 6 years old, she had never been to school, and she was incredibly curious, incredibly smart. She came to me, she was talking like, what is this? How do you do this? Why are you doing this? She was asking about everything. And then we were trying to, very slowly, but also without being intimidating, we continued the conversation with the mother to understand why was a kid not in school and how could we help. And we understood the situation, we understood the problem. The thing is that the mother she went blind for almost a year, and the little girl was helping her take care of everyone else in the household, all the other little kids. But that was not the situation anymore. So we connected them with St. Elizabeth. So thanks to St. Elizabeth for that, for the support there. We connected them with other community services, and we got the girl enrolled. So she's gonna go to school for the first time in the next coming school year, and that to me is just amazing, because that is the thing. No one can take away the education that you receive. That's the thing that is gonna travel with you anywhere you go. So that is just one case, but again, it's a very intense field of work.
Yeah. Thank you. Avery?
I would say for us, we just had, actually on Saturday, we had a very big event where we collaborated with, it was Kentucky Refugee Ministries, Refugee Connect, and Catholic Charities of Southwest Ohio. We hosted an event called World Refugee Day, and we had it at the P&G Reds Youth Academy. For security reasons, we didn't really advertise it to anybody but our clients, but we all experience a lot of heartbreak and a lot of fear and a lot of stress in what we do. But on Saturday, we had over 100 families from all 3 organizations that didn't speak the same language, didn't necessarily know each other, but made connections and had fun, and were able to get connected to resources in Ohio and Kentucky. And kids were running around, and there was popsicles, and Mr. Redleg showed up, and it was just so much joy that I feel is often missing from our line of work, that it's really nice to have those events to be okay, I'm ready, I can go back into the trenches, we can do this again.
That's awesome. We're running low on time, but if there's any let me come on over here to you.
Violetta, Teresa, Sarah, Avery, thank you so much for the work that you do. Being up here talking about it openly, it's absolutely incredible. I have a lot of strong opinions, mainly that no people are illegal on the planet, which is very polarizing right now. But my question for the panelists are, what can the people in this room do to fight against the terrorism that is ICE and the police in our communities?
Well, I'm going to say one thing quickly. Ask us how we feel about that, or if you're thinking about an intervention, if you're thinking about something that you want to do. At the same time, it is important to have people who can fight the fight who are not us, because we cannot be at every battlefront. But talk to us and see how comfortable we are, because maybe you can also be exposing people who are very vulnerable already. So we have to be strategic and we have to be creative. And there are a lot of ways. We are very lucky that we have a wonderful community around us, around Esperanza. We have great relationships with the city of Covington, even with the chief of police in Covington. So yeah, reach out to us and see how what you do can be beneficial. Yeah.
Just to add on to that, I was like, you definitely come to us and ask us, because we don't want to put our clients into any dangerous situations. But as a white person, I would also encourage to use your privilege if you have it, and put yourself as a barrier, because it is safer for me to stand up to a police officer right now, for the most part, than any of my clients or any of our brown and black neighbors that might very well be citizens but just speak a different language. So that would be the biggest thing. Carry around Know Your Rights cards. They're a free resource. I can send the website to people that want them, but they're available in a bunch of different languages. I keep them in my bag wherever I go and give them to people as they need them. But I would just say, like, just to be an advocate, and like, if you have the privilege and it's safe for you, use it and stand up for our neighbors that are in trouble. Or if you see something, say something. Don't be afraid to record people. That's just kind of a personal advocate thing. But yeah, come talk to us at any time. We always love volunteers and any of that sort of stuff.
And take videos if you're seeing any enforcement actions. You are allowed to legally record as long as you don't interfere with the incident. And that is often critical for their legal case. If ICE has done something illegal and we can't prove it, but if we have a video, and then, you know, ask your neighbor if they need their groceries or if they need a ride. A lot of people get caught up for driving without a license, and then they get an ICE holder and they've not done anything wrong other than that, you know, that kind of stuff.
I would say too, remember, in all of it, it's so hard and it's so easy to paint the enemy, right? Like it's so easy to do that. But I know there are a lot of great police officers out there too that are working really hard, that are caught up in just a frustrating time. And sometimes I think one of the best things we can do is make relationships with those people too and educate them and do all of that. Well, thank you all so much for what you do every day. We know it's immensely difficult. We are extremely, extremely grateful. Can you join me in thanking them? Great. You guys can head on back. We're going to move to announcements before we get out of here. So if you have an announcement, please raise your hand and we'll come around with a microphone. Elsie, we get to hear from you again. Your first day and you have an announcement. I'm so excited.
Hi, so for Boone County Schools, we are having we are having an EL Family Summer Open House on Monday, July 27th from 2 to 6. So I'm heading it this year. It's our third annual one, and I would like to have as many organizations and programs have a table and set up to help all our EL families with, you know, as the summer is ending and their kids are going back to school. I would like to have sessions on like why your kid needs to go to school. They don't need to be afraid, but also these are organizations for you guys that can help you with healthcare, food, diapers, all that stuff. So we're going to be at Ralph Rush Center. That's right next to Florence Elementary School. And I would also like to have, food, sponsorships, all that different kind of stuff, make it worth their while to have them come out. So if you know anything that could help me, that I would love that. I'm going to leave flyers for the event in English and Spanish here. And I also made an RSVP form for if you would like to be there, your organization have a table for you to RSVP, and also my card so that you can email me with any questions you may have about the event. It is a Monday, and we made it from 2 to 6 so we can catch some of those families that maybe work third shift or something like that. But just really, I would appreciate it, and I know that these families, they don't have a lot of people looking out for them, and I would love for them to have a day, have a space, and feel comfortable, and really get some good resources out of it.
Awesome. Thanks, Elsie.
Elsie, I need one of those. Hello? Yeah, it is. Okay. I need those. But I have a bunch of announcements for events coming up. I'm Maggie. I'm with St. Elizabeth's Community Health and Partnership. We have our See, Test, and Treat annual cancer screening event for uninsured women is going to be October 10th at the Faith Community Health Clinic this year. Very exciting. So it's from 8 until noon. I have all those flyers and I'll send them out as an alert. So you'll get those in English, Spanish, and French. Please share those out. It's really there's a health fair. It's just an incredible resource for the community. There are several Juneteenth events that have resources, screenings, no cost, a lot of connection to community. Friday is Florence Juneteenth, and that's going to be at the Florence Nature Center, and that's from 12 to 5 p.m. And then Saturday in Walton, they're also having one, and that's at Zion Baptist Church from 11 to 4. Covington has one, that's from 12 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, June 20th. And then the other thing that I just wanted to mention is because I don't think we'll have another meeting before then, but there's a Gallatin County Community Baby Shower, which will be Saturday, July 18th from 12 to 3 p.m. So lots of good events. I'll share all the flyers on yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Maggie. What else we got? We're going to go there. And
to play off just kind of what Elsie said, Boone County Schools online registration will open July 1st, and kind of play off what they said as well. We do have our 5 largest languages in Boone County translated over, so we have it in English, Spanish, French, Somali, and Arabic. So there's that, and then if anybody needs help, they can go to the EL open house as well. So there will be there from 2 to 6 to help anybody with registration, but the online registration part of it does open up on July 1st.
Awesome job being a leader and making sure that stuff happens. That's incredible.
Douglas Beard, I'm with the Brighton Center. I tried to print 20 copies of this, but it printed front and back, and I only ended up with 10, so they're not on every table. But tomorrow at the Kentucky Career Center, we are having a career fair and expungement clinic. This is sponsored by the Northern Kentucky Juneteenth Committee, so we appreciate their collaboration on this. And if you have anyone who is either looking for a job, please send them our way. We've got about 18 employers that will be present. And as far as the expungement, this does have to be for charges that are in Kentucky.
Great. Awesome. What else do we have?
I can give one. So WellCare of Kentucky is recognizing community health champions again this year, and I did mention this last month. And the flyer to register to nominate a community health champion is on the announcement page for SNA. So if you have someone in your community or working in your agency or volunteering for you that goes above and beyond to improve the overall health of our community or of your clients within your organization, then please consider nominating them. Regional, there are 8 regional winners. They will get $3,000. The overall state winner will get $5,000. Nominations are due by July 10th. So please consider nominating anybody who's out there working hard to make a difference. Thanks.
Absolutely. I'll announce that Faith Community Clinic is open. So we are open. We're currently open 2 days a week. We have appointments available. So please be telling, one thing to think about here that we've already seen is this might not be the people that are showing up to your food pantry. It might be the people working right next to you. There are many of us in this industry that do not have health insurance, or we're working part-time, we're working multiple part-time jobs, people working in food service, retail, all of these places. So please keep a broad stroke on this, and please let people know that it's there. We're taking a slow ramp up because we got a lot still to figure out, but we're delivering excellent health care. All they have to do is call and schedule an appointment. Nothing else? Okay, next time we're talking about veteran services. Thank you all. Have a happy Juneteenth. I hope you are all off on Juneteenth. If you're not, talk